This week's edition of Off the Press is a little bit behind the usual schedule. I tend to do things within the last 7 days, but I've decided to extend that to the last 10 days because I had initially planned to record this video on Friday. However, I had a lot of stuff going on with work and I wasn't able to, so I'm going to be doing 3 topics across the last 10 days just to make up for lost time. I'm going to be talking about something I found out that I found quite interesting, a new member of staff at West Ham and his plans for the club, and I finish off actually talking about something very sad and very tragic that happened recently. West Ham United spreads around the world every corner you go. I've been to a few countries now, and every time I've gone, even across in Canada, I've seen people talking about West Ham. People know West Ham are, West Ham this, West Ham that. We're a club that's very well known around the world. And hey, again, we're pretty big. And we've got a big fan base over land and sea, as the slogan goes. So I'm going to be talking about a player who plays in France who admits to being a huge West Ham fan in the first part of this video. I'm also going to be talking about what the new head of recruitment, Rob Newman, has said about his intentions for the club in transfer windows, and I'm going to be paying brief tribute to Sir David Amess, who tragically died last week at the age of 69 years old, and how he passed away was in very tragic and shocking circumstances. Before I get into that, I'm going to talk about a player who you may never have heard of, but you're going to need to know about if you want to be a West Ham fan, because you need to welcome him into the fan base. 21-year-old English goalkeeper Etienne Green is West Ham through and through. I think he's got a very appropriate surname for a start, given that West Ham's old stadium was on Green Street. Etienne is the club that he plays for in France, Saint Etienne. He's actually meant to be on West Ham's radar ahead of the January transfer window and is quite a highly rated goalkeeper in Europe. He's made 16 appearances so far for Saint Etienne's first team. And what actually gets me is the fact he's got an interesting backstory to him. He was born in Colchester in Essex, which is near West Ham territory anyway, and he's raised in France because his mother is French, but his dad is from England. He's been at Saint Etienne's academy since he was 9 years old and has risen through the ranks there, impressing the club's staff, impressing the youth academy coaches, and he admits that he is always watching West Ham anyway, because his uncle goes to the games and his uncle updates him on what's going on. The Premier League, he says, has a lot of intensity about it, and it's a league that he'd be very interested to play in. So this is one of those things which is like a massive hint as to what he wants to do. Okay, born in Essex, dad's from England, Green Street, surname is Green, Etienne, Saint Etienne. You know, these things all add up. Uncle's a West Ham fan. He's a West Ham fan. He's interested in West Ham. Mr. David Moyes, if you are perchance by listening to this, maybe you might want to make that guy's dream come true and sign him up to West Ham United Football Club, okay? This club had needed some structure in the scouting department for quite some time. And we do know that. Why? I've spoken about it before in videos, and it's something that has been constantly spoken about in every transfer window thus far. The need for a recruitment at this club. The need for scouts. David Moyes' second appointment at this club finally saw that happen 2 years after he came back. And finally, West Ham United has a head of recruitment. His name is Rob Newman. He was a former centre-back in his playing days, and he played for Norwich City. I know that. But he worked at Manchester City for around 12 years and was responsible for recruiting players such as Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero, Fernandinho, just to name a few. He has signed top-quality talent for Manchester City and had a lot of faith put in him to do his job properly. He was initially appointed as West Ham's head of recruitment back in August, but he wasn't allowed to start until September because he was on gardening leave from Manchester City as punishment for applying for another job. Now that he's been officially unveiled, he's actually given an interview about what his plans are for the future. And let me sum it up very briefly for you. He says that he's really buzzing to be at West Ham because it's a club with a lot of history and a lot of potential. He says that he wants to work very closely with David Moyes and acknowledges that scouting methods have changed. He says something along the lines of how it's gone from sitting at a game with a pen and paper to now compiling clips together of players for the manager to see. So he's really taken good use of technology and starting to apply that into his own role. He said that he wants to bring in the right players to West Ham with David Moyes' permission. The two are going to be working together very well and they know what they want. Not just for the direction of the club, but for each other. Newman did say that he has been interested in finding talent in rare places. It's worth noting that Jarrod Bowen and Mikel Antonio both came from championship teams, and those championship teams were in the second half of the league table for the most part. So you can find talent in lower places, and Newman, referenced things such as League 1 and League 2 as well. He's also said that he's very impressed with the club's recruitment thus far, the signings of players such as Kurt Zouma. And he says that's something he wants West Ham to build on, getting in quality players who are hard-working and bring that hard-working mentality on the pitch. And that is going to come, obviously, with the manager's belief and support that he puts in the players. It also comes from upstairs with signing players correctly and efficiently. So that's basically what Newman was talking about, that what he wants to bring into West Ham, what kind of player he wants to bring in to the club, I should say. I think that he's a fantastic appointment, and it's something that we've needed for a long time. January is going to be his first test, because that's a transfer window. He's going to need to sign a couple players in there should West Ham want to maintain its fight to have European football again next season. But overall, that is something not tipped on, shall we say, but hinted at, was West Ham's forward progression, and he wants to help that with the right recruitment at the club. On October the 15th, tragedy struck in England when Member of Parliament Sir David Amess was stabbed to death at a constituency surgery in Leigh-on-Sea. This was absolutely horrifying thing to happen. Anyone who was there would have no doubt been scarred by those events, and those events will be very long lasting. I won't get into all the political side of things. I won't talk about motives for the murder or talk about why it happened or what happened. That's not the point of this segment in this video. I wanted to pay tribute to Sir David Amess because he was a passionate West Ham fan. He attended the last ever game at the Boleyn Ground and kept supporting the club until his death. You may have had different opinions on his beliefs or what he stood for. I didn't find out about who he really was until after he passed away, but what I can say is that he was a father, a husband, and a family member, and just a family man in general. And it's very sad that he's been taken away so suddenly and so horrifically, if anything. He was doing his job when he was attacked and stabbed to death. And his family are the ones that I give all my condolences out to, because they are going through a lot right now with this. It's hard to wrap your head around something as traumatic as that. But he was a big West Ham fan as well, and the West Ham community paid tribute to him. His face was shown on the screens for the game against Spurs, and the fans applauded to show their respects as well. So I want to say to him and his family, we're thinking of you all the West Ham community is thinking of you all, and we're going to try and support you if you ask for it and if you really need it from us, because no doubt you do. This is an awful thing to have happened, and it's very, very sad. Rest in peace, David, and thank you for your loyal support to the club. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Off the Press. If you liked the video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you all soon.